Hello there everyone, and thank you for watching my new video on ear acupuncture. And today we are going to overview briefly the points that are on the tragus part of the ear. So that's the tragus, right? Remember, we've seen the one that are on the helix, we've seen the one that are on the antitragus, and this is the tragus points, okay? The tragus starts right here, what we call the supratragic notch, okay? So we got a little notch right there. Alright, right here, this is the supratragic notch and goes all the way down to the intertragic notch right here. Alright, so let's start. We are going to start on the top, from top to bottom. Okay, the upper points of the tragus is not actually really on the tragus, it's just right above the supratragic notch. It is considered as a tragus point somehow, but it is not really on the tragus. It is really on the border of the supratragic notch, not on it, but on the border on it. So you remember, like we've seen the one on the helix, you remember the rectum point right there and the urethra point right here. Okay, well, this point called the external ear is just right underneath the rectum point, on the border of the supratragic notch. Okay, right there. Okay, supratragic notch, rectum point, right between those two. Basically, that's how I know it. Right between those 2 points. All right. So that's the external ear. Straightforward, of course. Any kind of inflammation related with the external auditory canal, and also titus and tinnitus. Very good for all these conditions. Going down now, anatomically speaking, we have 2 apexes on the tragus. So right now I want you to feel your tragus with one of your fingers, okay? And you will probably feel that you have 2 bumps on your tragus, an upper one and a lower one, alright? So those 2 bumps are called lower apex of the tragus and upper apex of the tragus and lower apex of the tragus, okay? And those are actually points, acupuncture points, alright? So upper apex of the tragus and lower apex of the tragus. 2 points to needle, extremely sensitive, quite painful, but very effective for any fever whatsoever, and for toothache. Remember that if you got any form of toothache, needle, upper apex of the tragus and lower apex of the tragus. Really good points for toothache, and especially, I would say, especially more for upper toothache. Extremely good. Alright, so remember, fever and toothache, any form of fever, any form of toothache, mostly effective for upper toothache. Alright, so we've seen those. Now we are going to go still on the tragus, between the upper apex of the tragus and the lower apex of the tragus points, right in between of them. Okay, there's a point, and this one is the external nose. Okay, straightforward, any nasal disorder, any kind of allergic conditions that are affecting the nose in any ways possible. Alright, so take it as it is very straightforward. Very straightforward. Now we are still going down on the tragus, and we have an area. Remember, an area is an area you can needle with more than 1 needle if you want to. This area is between the intertragic notch and the lower apex of the tragus. Okay, this area is the adrenal gland. Okay, adrenal gland right there. Okay, very powerful point, extremely powerful point. Once again, you can either put 1 needle, or you can put 2 needles, connecting needles, or you can do a little bagua around it. It's totally up to you. Okay, so this little area between the lower apex of the tragus and the endocrine and the intertragic notch, which is the endocrine point actually, is called the adrenal gland. Okay, adrenal gland can be used for fever, extremely good for high and mild fever, for arthritis, any kind of inflammatory condition in the body, asthma, hypertension, for coma. Some people even use it for coma, chronic fatigue. Yeah, pretty much all these kind of things. I tend to use adrenals quite often. Especially for people that are deficient. Very good point for deficiency condition. For deficient conditions. Okay, so adrenals. Now we have a few more points on the inside of the tragus. okay, on the inside border of the tragus, okay, not really into it, but inside borders. All right, so definitely just right here you got the superficial area where you just go a little bit down, you follow a line, all right, and that's the inner border of the tragus. All right, so leveled with the upper apex of the tragus on the inner borderline. Okay, so you just follow, you point your upper apex of the tragus, you draw a line to the inner border of the tragus, and there you got a point that is called the pharynx and larynx point. Straightforward, of course. Any kind of like inflammation, acute and chronic, of the pharynx and larynx, tonsillitis, loss of voice, bronchitis, very good, and also for post-stroke recovery, motor disabilities of the pharynx and larynx. Very, very good point. All right, so level apex of the tragus. Same again, you take your point, you draw a line, and on the inner border of your tragus, you have the internal nose. Internal nose, straightforward also. Cold and flu can be used for common cold and flu, rhinitis, allergies, nasal bleeding, even allergies, asthma. It can be used for all those kind of conditions that relates to mostly upper respiratory conditions. Okay, so those are the two inner points inside your antitragus. All right, larynx and pharynx and internal nose. All right, so those are the primary points on your tragus. All right, however, we have two more points that I want to show you that are not really mentioned a lot in your textbook about auricular acupuncture. Those are called master point. You remember, we've seen the point 0. You see you remember on the helix root, the point that regulates basically pretty much homeostasis and balance in your body and supports any other points that you use in your regular acupuncture. Well, those are two more master points. Okay, we got the first one that is called the tranquilizer. Okay, so the tranquilizer is between the lower apex of the tragus and the intertragic notch. Okay, so you draw a line between those 2 points. Okay, and you go on the outer border surface of the tragus where the face basically meets the tragus. All right, so lower apex, intertragic notch, right in the middle on the outer border where the face meets the antitragus is just right there, right here. Okay, and this is the tranquilizer point. The tranquilizer point in auricular acupuncture is a master point, and this is a very, very sedative point. Extremely good for your anxiety, stress, high blood pressure, and general relaxation. Really extremely good point. People that are scared, a bit needle phobic, needle this point. Really, it's a very, very good point for general relaxation. Mostly comparing to yin tang, the yin tang point. It has exactly the same effect. Really, it's a great complement for any kind of relaxation therapy that you might do. You use yin tang and you use the tranquilizer point in auricular acupuncture. Very, very good point. And the second one, which will be the last one, is called the master oscillation. Okay, so the master oscillation is not a point that I use a lot because I don't really see any form of therapeutic effect of it. But I'm just gonna go very, very quickly over it. This one is master oscillation points is in the middle of your tragus on the inner border line of the tragus. Okay, right in the middle of it. Okay, so basically you remember you have you have the external nose point, okay, between the upper and lower apex of the tragus, where you draw a line on the inner border line and you needle right here. Okay, and that's your master oscillation point. Your master oscillation point basically does balance between the right and left hemispheres of your brain, so brings balance on a cerebral point of view. It is really good, really good for any kind of like focus and attention disorders, ADHD, ADD, and learning disabilities. That's it, guys. So those are the tragus points for you. All right, thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon with the triangular fossa points.